Hello and welcome to the channel that celebrates itself, Shoegaze in 93. So first of all, I would like to give a big shout out as a reply to Full Record Jacket, Phil and Ben, who run the Full Record Jacket channel. I did put a comment on one of their latest videos because they actually name checked me and gave a big shout out on I think it was the albums of 93, which they recently uploaded, and about halfway through they gave me a little shout out, and I put a comment saying thank you guys, maybe we should do a video sometime, but YouTube like randomly deleted it for some unknown reason. Apparently this, like, loads of other people kind of struggle with this as well, but yeah, it's a bit of a ball ache really, because I put a bit of time and effort into replying, and YouTube just decided to weirdly like erase it. So anyway, yeah, Phil and Ben, thank you very much for the shout out. I'm in fine spirits today. My football club, Plymouth Argyle, just stayed up by the skin of our teeth by 1 point. Yeah, we had to win, beat Hull City on the last day 1-0. If Hull equalised, we were going down because Birmingham were, they were winning. They were the team below us. So yeah, thank you Argyle for staying up, and we get another season of Championship football, which we thoroughly deserve after the 13 years it's taken us to get here. Anyway, so yeah, happy times in the football world. So back to the music. So yeah, I decided to do a Mount Rushmore of my favourite shoegaze guitarists, and I would like to, if you don't agree, I would like to hear your thoughts. But personally, it's 4 places, isn't it, on Mount Rushmore? And I was inspired to do this because I've seen it done for the other genres. Like there's like a jazz rock one that Andy Edwards did, and a prog. He did a prog one as well. Biggest 4 characters within those genres, and he sort of he had categories like influence and skill level, talent, all that kind of stuff. So I decided to do one on shoegaze, and I think I got a really good one here. So number 1, the GOAT, possibly the GOAT, Julian Swales, Kitchens of Distinction. Now, this might be a bit of a left field choice for a lot of people, and it's maybe a band that you haven't discovered because they are a bit in the lower echelons of shoegaze bands in terms of popularity. But I don't know why, but they really should be. I mean, they did come back in 2013 with the album called Folly. So I'm a bit surprised they're not more popular than they are. I mean, at least they've had a reunion, but obviously their heyday was the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, you need to hear this guy play. 4 songs that really show what Julian Swales is all about is Railwayed, Drive That Fast, World Gone Wild. No, Gone World Gone, I mean. Gone World Gone, and Blue Pedal. Absolutely incredible. The reason why he's my first choice is simply because I think in terms of technical ability, I think the talent really shines through the effects. So I think that, like, even you could give this guy an acoustic guitar or like a ukulele, and he would still like rip it up without any effects. You know, I think he's got the technical ability would be there still. Um, and I think that's with the effects. I just think he uses them in such a aggressive ambient kind of way. Just huge delay times. He plays over what he delays, 100% feedback and stuff with the delay, and then he would play over that, and he would layer it. So not just layer it, but also like um, ascend as well in terms of the notes. So it just it's just rising to that screech that kind of just comes through. It goes through your body, and you feel your rib cage like pressing out. It's that. I mean, for me, it gives me that adrenaline rush. Just so loud, so powerful, and it's the way he, like I said, the way he does the noise. It's not just the noise. It's kind of the notes are ascending until it gets to this crescendo, and it's just the perfect note, and he holds it right there. It just hangs in the air, and he's playing like another octave up, another or two, you know, whilst this note's being delayed at like this 100% like chorus vibrato kind of style, and he uses the Elise's quadriverb apparently. Yeah, phenomenal units, and he must have the foot controller with it as well. So I don't think there's any question that this guy deserves to be in this big four of shoegaze guitarists. I just think a mesmerizing player. Like I said, Railway, Drive That Fast, Hypnagogic, Quick as Rainbows. Within the Days of Passion is a real underrated track. This is all on the Strange Free World album, which is their second album produced by Hugh Jones. And it's a big step up in production from their first one, Love Is Hell, from 1989, although that's definitely still worth checking out with Prize and The Third Time We Opened the Capsule. And then you got The Death of Cool, which I've got the poster in front of me. Gone Wild Gone, Blue Pedal is just absolutely insane. It's just like, it's basically Hugh Jones and John Cornfield basically saying, all right, Julian, I want you to be as loud and as bombastic as possible with the guitar, and just the layers in that, and just the aggressiveness of the ambience created is just really unparalleled. And I would just love to see Julian play live, with kitchens or without, in the kitchen or in the living room or in the bathroom, or I don't care. I don't care what room it is, man. I want to see this guy play guitar. I want to feel that experience when that guitar is just reaching its absolute peak. I mean, the outro of Railway is just absolutely the way he changes the mood and stuff. When the guitar comes in, it's like full attack. Very quick attack, like on the compressors, and it just comes in and knocks you out in the best possible way, in a beautiful way. Just such a great urgency to his guitar sound that it lifts the songs up and changes the mood and stuff. Like I said with Railway, it's like this kind of sinister sounding verse, like where it's kind of like in between major and minor. It's like you're not quite sure about what mood it's going to be, and then suddenly it turns really happy at the end. It's like that state of euphoria that kicks in right at the end. Absolutely incredible. So for my next two places, I think these are kind of mandatory, fundamental spots on my Mount Rushmore that I think everyone should agree with. Very hard to argue with these two. And we start off with my second choice, Robin Guthrie from the Cocteau Twins. Now, this guy really, well, I wouldn't say the first, but obviously not the first. I mean, everyone's been experimenting with guitars from the very inception, but Robin Guthrie is special and really created this ambient with psychedelic guitar that really, where the emotion, it was acting as a paintbrush, like an impressionistic and surrealist paintbrush. That's what he really transformed the guitar into. I think he was one of the first guys who saw the guitar in a different way. In the 1980s, yeah, he wanted to use it as an impressionistic tool that was, it was just like wrapped around the vocals, but not in like a show off kind of prowess way, but rather creating this kind of bunch of fireworks that made the canvas look pretty. And yeah, Robin Guthrie, just incredible. I mean, look at this live gig on YouTube. I think it's live in 1990, Heaven or Las Vegas tour. And it's a weird one actually, because I think the video is like in London or something, but, or maybe I got this the other way around. Maybe it's Detroit, but the audio is taken from another gig, and they've basically basically synced the audio to the visuals, so that they, sometimes you can see like Liz Fraser and stuff like not singing when the audio's there, but she's actually not singing visually. And you know, but most of it's very well synced up still, because it's like, I think it's audio taken from another gig off the same tour. So yeah, they were obviously a very painstaking process that the publisher went through there for that video. But that just exemplifies how good Robin Guthrie is, and basically there probably wouldn't be like Chapter House, Slow Dive. There wouldn't be like 75% of that Thames Valley scene if it wasn't for Robin Guthrie and the Cocteau Twins. You know, Robin had the perfect companion in Liz Fraser to provide vocals that were also innovative and just weirdly different. You know, with her like making her own language up. You know, right from the off, Garland's first album, 1982, you can tell there's a special guitar player right there. A very noisy post-punk affair. Obviously not quite as many effects pedals as maybe later in his career, but he still makes a big statement, bold statement on that record. And especially with Head Over Heels from 1983, where, yeah, you can really start to hear like this kind of cavernous wall of sound starting to develop. And then you've got Treasure from 1984, which many cite as really the beginnings of the real shoegaze and stuff. And also that year, you've also got Psycho Candy by the Jesus and Mary Chain. So 1984, obviously, two, you know, monumental records in the development of the scene, of this style, of this genre, whatever you want to call it, of this big noisy thing, noisy but beautiful thing. Go and watch the Beautiful Noise documentary from 2014, which is uploaded on YouTube. I wish it would come in a DVD. I wish they actually, well, they actually did, but they sold out really quickly because they just didn't produce enough. But go and watch Beautiful Noise from 2014, and I think you'll be blown away. And Robin Guthrie's being interviewed on there, and yeah, you can really get his like sense of ambition, and yeah, just so many bands would not exist without them. And Robin Guthrie's playing. Also, what a great solo career. His solo works from the 2000s onwards, like Imperial. I was listening to the Carousel album, I think it is, from 2009. He did a KEXP session, a live session from 2012, I think it was, where he's playing like Mission Dolores and Monuments. Monuments, just beautiful. You can hear how he turns a guitar into like this angelic noise. It's like, ah, just this, it's like angels singing in the sky. And really, yeah, everything like to do with this whole reverb idea and the whole kind of like flanging and chorus, the modulation and the shimmer reverb, all of that comes from Robin Guthrie for me. Obviously a great producer as well. So not just a solo career works, but also he produced Lush, Spooky. He worked with Lush, one of the key bands, also on 4AD. And Chapter House, he worked on a few tracks from Whirlpool album. Something More, there's a fantastic mix from Robin Guthrie, which you can find on YouTube once again. It's always YouTube. And he did a few other tracks on there. I think maybe Treasure, maybe, and Auto Sleeper. He definitely did that one. He produced a mixed Auto Sleeper track 3, which is a real dark song for Chapter House. It's got an incredible atmosphere. Yeah, absolutely. He's produced Resplendor, the Playmo album, one of my favourites of the 21st century, from 2008. 2008, I must remember, because I always get the year of that album wrong. 2008, Resplendor Plima. He also produced their latest one from 2021, working with Antonio Zelada, Peruvian guys originally, before relocating to Amsterdam, and he's worked with them. He's worked with so many people, and yeah, great producer, and yeah, definitely warrant of the second spot. So number 3 on my list, and this goes without saying, really. This guy has to be on this Mount Rushmore of shoegaze guitarists. I would say he's not really one that I enjoy the most, and I don't really like feel the need to like listen to him all the time. He's not one that entirely grips me, but in terms of the whole like legend of this guy, the whole like the folklore, the stories, the mental health breakdown stories, and the controversy, and just this whole like mythical, it's more than legendary, it's almost mythical, because this guy is like, he never really shows himself in the music industry. Very secretive, reserved musician, but he has to be on here, and for influence as well. Undoubtedly, such an influence. Who doesn't do the glide guitar technique with the strumming and the vibrato arm up and down like a wing? What do you call it? A windscreen wiper. That's what I call it. A windscreen wiper effect. Kevin Shields, people, from My Bloody Valentine. Needs no introduction, just like Robin Guthrie. Yeah, he simply has to be on here because the whole sort of legend of this guy, like this whole like Loveless taking 2 years to record and mix, going through studio after studio around the country before settling with Alan Moulder and Angeli Dutt, and then even those guys, even they didn't really get much of a say in the whole process. Kevin Shields pretty much in the end produced it. He knew what he wanted. But yeah, like the stories you hear from like Dean Garcia, who I interviewed on this channel earlier this year, like just all of those stories, just like it creates a sense of wonderment about this guy and a real legendary status. Not to mention his playing, which was obviously like no one was like that before. That kind of precision to get everything exactly right, and the whole everything's got to be, the frequencies have to like resonate in his head, you know, they have to be the right frequency. If not, he won't play a single thing. This whole like peculiar and particular style that Kevin Shields had, you know, it was very unusual way of working, a very unusual musician indeed. You never know when they're going to tour, you never know when they're going to release something. It's all on like pure instinct with Kevin Shields, but you know, so it might take 10 years, it might take 10 minutes. I think, you know, he has something in his brain where he just has to hear the right thing, and until he gets that thing, that certain particular thing, then he'll only start kind of recording something. And he never feels the pressure of fan bases. He never feels the pressure of the press and critics and the music industry altogether. I mean, obviously, he didn't regard Creation Records at all, so he didn't care about what Creation Records could afford and stuff, and he just plowed through their money. And yeah, everyone knows that story, don't they, of Alan McGee turning up at the studio, like asking, "Where's this album? What the hell's going on?" Like, everyone knows that story about the famous Alan McGee thing, which was famously replicated in the Creation Stories film from 2021. But yeah, Kevin Shields, obviously a no-brainer, really. But like I said, I'm not, you know, because of those kind of frustrating aspects about him, the fact he doesn't release, the fact that he doesn't tour very much, and it kind of, I don't know, I kind of just lose a little bit of respect for him in the sense that I just feel, you know, is he really that good a musician if he can't actually complete these things? You know, like you think about like session musicians, and they can just get the job done in like one take, for example. But so it kind of brings into question, really, like actually how good a musician is this guy if he's gonna like take years and years just to lay down a track. And but you know, also, yeah, I just don't, it's not really the sounds that it's not an instant like capture of my soul really. Every time I hear Kevin Shields, it's not quite as good as like Julian Swales. Just it doesn't, just the mood and stuff, you know, I have to be in the right mood for it. With Kevin Shields, it's very drifty, it's very you got to be in a relaxed state really, whereas the guitars that Julian Swales really just, it takes you on a wild ride. That's like a wild ride kind of playing, where it's based on momentum and thrust. Regarding the just the whole kind of the upheaval of the sound, the dynamics, and yeah, that whole kind of ascending dynamics. But yeah, Kevin Shields obviously forged his own style, made his own pathway. You can't deny that. I mean, it's a sonic signature that he's got, and that is why he is number 3 on my Mount Rushmore. So finally, 4th place on my Mount Rushmore, the final spot. Who is going to take that final spot? And you've got Christian Saville from Slowdive, Neil Halstead from Slowdive, Adam Franklin from Swervedriver. You've got Martin Carr from the Boo Radleys. You've got Stephen Patman from Chapter House, or Simon Rowe. But Emma Anderson would be another honourable mention. But in conclusion, I came to the decision that 4th place is going to be Nick McCabe from The Verve, or just Verve as they were originally known. And for me, Nick McCabe should be here because I think his free-form guitar playing was a different approach, I think, in that early 90s scene. I think the way he can just invent and play stuff differently every time. He doesn't play the same phrase the same way. He's always inventive, and he can lead the rest of the band onto an extended jam. Like, you think the song's over, and then something like She's a Superstar is a great example of this, or Gravity Grave. You think the song's finished, and then he will carry it on using this delay. Beautiful delay player. And I think, yeah, just the way he can do these extended jams, and also, like, you think about, like, on Urban Hymns, like, people think that's the commercial, I mean, it is the commercial breakthrough, yes, you're right, but people think that's too poppy and stuff like that. But really, if you listen carefully, Nick McCabe's, like, subtle textures are so vital. Listen to Weeping Willow, listen to Catching the Butterfly, listen to Space and Time. listen to Come On, The Rolling People, This Time, Weeping Willow, Neon Wilderness, of course. Those tracks just exemplify just those textures, and it shows he's willing to compromise a little bit. It's not, he doesn't need this massive pool of sound. It's sometimes just the little textures that really enhance a piece of work. And I think the way he compromised with Ashcroft, I think, on like urban hymns and stuff, was it showed true class there. And I think that McCabe is also really important for the fact that because the Verve became commercially successful with urban hymns and fourth in 2008, I think because of that commercial success, due to songs that actually didn't feature Nick McCabe. I mean, Bittersweet Symphony hardly, I mean, it has these little trickles in it, but there's hardly any of Nick McCabe in Bittersweet Symphony, Lucky Man, Drugs Don't Work, Sonnet. All of his big singles do not really feature McCabe at all. So you have to remember that, you know, kind of lost my point there. But basically, what I'm trying to say is I think the Verve, because they became a commercial success, Urban Hymns was like Album of the Year for 1997 at the Brit Awards, I believe. And that helped a lot of people get into shoegaze. I've heard from a lot of friends, various people that say the Verve got me into the genre, the style, and that's thanks to Nick McCabe. So I think McCabe deserves the fourth spot because he brought shoegaze into the view of a lot of the normies, like into a commercial arena. So obviously the headline Glastonbury in 2008, which is a great performance, by the way. But my favourite is probably the I like the Hay Hall 1998 performance, and all of the live audio footage online. You know, like live in Sweden from 1994. That version of Gravity Grave is just absolutely incredible. I mean, that really is Nick McCabe going for the wall of sound and infinite delays, reverb to the max. And I think Nick McCabe is a real kind of dark, it's kind of a dark, harsh kind of vibe, I think, that really complements Richard Ashcroft's vocals with that kind of northern grittiness that he has. I think the guitar, it also has that bit of grit to it. It's not quite as like beautiful, like in a euphoric way. It's more of a gritty, like defiant kind of sound, I think, with Nick McCabe. Much more kind of a northern kind of aesthetic where it's like all about like trying hard and like no messing, like, yeah, it's just that northern kind of like workman kind of style. And also I would say that yeah, obviously Storm in Heaven is fantastic. I never really got a Northern Soul, actually. That's my least favourite Verve album, and I find it immensely dry. If you think about it, there's really not much reverb on a Northern Soul at all. It's a very dry, bit of a dirge at times. If you think about, McCabe's not even playing on like History. He's not even on Your Own. This Is Music, A New Decade, is mostly dry guitar, really. It's not really that atmospheric. So I don't really know why people, I would like to know in the comments, like why people really vouch for a Northern Soul like being their best work. And to be honest, Urban Hymns has a lot more balance to it, I think, in terms of McCabe's playing. It really reveals every side of his playing. I would definitely prefer Urban Hymns over Northern Soul any day. And that's, looking at McCabe's playing, I think, yeah, it seems to be a Northern Soul. He's kind of more held back than he is on Urban Hymns, to be honest. You got to remember, during a Northern Soul, the sessions were incredibly fraught with Owen Morris, the producer. It was just like drug problems, and you got to remember there was, I think Nick McCabe even left the band, and Richard Ashcroft did. He definitely did. But they split up during those sessions, and I think it really shows. And I think Nick McCabe was really marginalised on his guitar playing on the Northern Soul. But on Urban Hymns, Richard Ashcroft, he had the songs, and then he realised that actually I need Nick McCabe back, like doing his special stuff. And Urban Hymns is a better representation, I think, of Nick McCabe, and is a bit of a return to A Storm in Heaven with the guitar, albeit it's pushed further back, I guess, in the mix. But look at songs like Come On, the way he plays Come On live at Hay Hall from '98. They were still, the Verve still kept up the that shoegaze sound, even if they did change direction on record. The Verve still had a very psychedelic, massive, reverby sound live. Like even during '97, '98, those final years where they had a commercial success. If you watch the Verve live at Hay Hall in Wigan, you can hear that McCabe he's not holding back, and he's still got that great sound, the delay, the loop, the freeze pedal, the wah pedal. It's all happening there. It's all happening. The flanger. They're still very shoegaze live. They really are. They didn't lose that. They didn't lose that little McCabe magic. They never lost that magic. And Fourth from 2008 really exemplifies that with the final track like Appalachian Springs and Judas, like Columbo, Valium Skies. Those songs, like they still retain the shoegaze style there. And yeah, that's why Nick McCabe's my number 4. I think Adam Franklin for Swerve Driver, he is a great player, great player, but I don't think Swerve Driver really, they're not the definitive, they don't really define, they're not the definitive sound of the genre. And you could vouch for Christian and Neil from Snowdive, and that I would personally have no qualms about that at all. I think if you put them in, I would be like, yeah, that's fair enough. You know, if you put Neil Halstead in there, and Emma Anderson from Lush is super underrated. Really great Roland GP16 user. The chorus effect being her signature. So yeah, I can. There's definitely worthy candidates. Even you could go back as far as Robert Fripp. Robert Fripp definitely has a big influence, a big hand in all of this stuff, and even Jimi Hendrix as well. Just the first guy to use like fuzz and wah and in such a feedbacky, aggressive way. But I would say Jimi Hendrix is much more of a rocker, a much more rock and roll persona on stage. So that's kind of why people would dismiss that. He did do a bit of glide guitar though, albeit it wasn't with the reverse reverb or reverse delay. It was just he did do the vibrato arm thing up and down, apparently, in some performances. But yeah, these 4 that I've gone with are definitely they're my choices, and I think they're very valid, and hopefully you will agree. If not, then you can make your own Mount Rushmore, or yeah, and leave your choices in the comment section. Thanks again. Full Record Jacket, thanks for the shout out, and see you guys again. Bye.